Hi, and welcome to Around the Neighborhood with me, Scott McMahon, your local real estate professional. Today I'm in West Linn and we're about to uncover a story about the visitor from the sky. West Linn is located in the southern suburbs of the Portland metro area, just across the river from Oregon City. With just over 26,000 residents, West Linn is home to one of the best school districts in the state. It offers numerous parks, river access, dining and shopping throughout the neighborhoods, including its charming historic district. The prices for single-family homes range anywhere from $200,000 to $2 million. For the past few years, the median home price has been increasing beyond $525,000. I'm standing here near the base of the Tualatin River at Fields Park here in West Linn, and I can't help but imagine what this place must have looked like 15,000 years ago. 15,000 years ago, the Ice Age was coming to an end, bringing with it the Missoula Flood. Now, the flood was a result of the Missoula Lake in Montana bursting through an ice dam, sending water rushing down the continent. So many of the rivers that we know here in Oregon came from that flood. But something else emerged from that frozen landmass, something that the indigenous people called Tomanawas, the visitor from the sky. So who was this visitor? Well, it's this little guy, the Willamette Meteorite. Actually, this is just a replica. It's a much smaller replica than the real thing. The real meteorite happens to be the largest meteorite ever discovered in North America, and it landed right here in our little town of West Linn. The real meteorite can be found on the bottom floor of the famous American Museum of Natural History in New York City. So the real meteorite, it stands 10 feet tall, 6.5 feet wide, and weighs over 15 tons. Now, the real story is how this visitor from the sky came here in West Linn and ended up in New York. I met up with DR Schreiber of the West Linn Historical Society to discuss more about the Willamette Meteorite.
Well, it was discovered about 2 miles from here in West Linn. It was actually back then it was called Willamette, which was the original town name of the area of the historic district, which later merged with West Linn. But it was discovered by a prospector, a Welsh prospector in 1902. His name was Ellis Hughes. And Ellis was out chopping wood for the Willamette Primary School. And he, as he says, he stumbled upon this rock that looked a little odd. When it was struck with a piece of metal, it rang like a bell.
Okay.
And he realized that it was probably iron, a meteorite or something. He didn't exactly know what it was, but he knew that it wasn't on his property. It was on the property of the Oregon Iron and Steel Company.
Yeah.
And so he made an effort, we're not sure how much of an effort, but at least made an effort to try to purchase it. At least that's what he claimed. But they wouldn't sell the property to him. So Ellis got together with his 15-year-old son and their little mule and pulled the 15-ton meteorite about 3/4 of a mile over onto his property. He was a very entrepreneurial spirit because right away after he moved it onto his property, he built a shack around it and started charging 25 cents for admission. And so unfortunately, one of his first customers was an attorney from the Oregon Iron and Steel Company who looked out across the field and saw these drag marks that led right onto the Oregon Iron and Steel Company land.
Oh
so
my God.
he, that's when the lawsuit started.
Didn't the Oregon Steel Company take it upon themselves and they brought it up to the fair up in Portland and
Well,
started shares?
what ended up happening, it actually went all the way to the state Supreme Court, the argument.
Oh, okay, so they were fighting over it. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And eventually the Supreme Court found in favor of Oregon Iron and Steel Company. And yes, they actually moved it over to, actually right down the river, down the Willamette River, to the Lewis and Clark exhibition that happened in 1905. And so they built a pavilion there for it, and it was a display there at the time. And actually they even had one of the days called Willamette Meteorite Day, celebrating the meteorite. And it's still to this day called the Willamette Meteorite after the town that it was founded in, which was Willamette. And that's the mock-up of it.
The question is like, then who bought it to get it to New York, and like how long do you know how long it took?
Well, actually, the great story about that is, so it was at the exhibition for the entire time. It was at Lewis and Clark exhibition, and at one point, the day that was called the Willamette Meteorite Day, the governor of Oregon said that this meteorite will stay in Oregon for all eternity as a symbol of our greatness. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, his quotes. But then at the conclusion, the Oregon Iron and Steel Company sold it to Miss Dodge, and for $26,000 at the time, and she promptly moved it off to New York for display permanently.
Nice.
So, and she actually donated it to the Natural History Museum there, where it still is today.
Yeah, that's interesting because we and I were talking earlier about the Supreme Court decision to to give it back to the Oregon Steel.
Ellis Hughes's attorney's argument was that that they said that the meteorite didn't actually land here. They had this cockamamie idea that somehow the meteorite flowed here somehow on water or on ice or something, and wasn't actually found in West Linn. It wasn't actually landed in West Linn. Instead, it landed many miles away. But the Supreme Court rejected that idea completely, saying that was ludicrous. There's no way that a rock this large could travel over distance, which now, of course, scientists believe that it probably traveled here on the ice flows. And so that's kind of proved the Supreme Court was probably wrong on their conclusions.
Wow, wow.
There's still some debate exactly where it landed, because it's hard to tell. I mean, you don't know. More than likely, it was probably all covered with ice at the time, and so there wouldn't be no crater to see. But I'm not a scientist. You'd have to talk to the scientist guys on that one.
That's fascinating. Awesome. But even though you're not a scientist, you are a magician.
I am, yes.
So could I
You want to see
humor
something?
you?
Sure.
Where should we do it? On one of
Wherever.
these?
We can stand. We can stand. I brought a deck of cards just because, you know, all magicians apparently have to have a deck of cards at all times. Go ahead and take a card out. You pick a card. Doesn't matter which one. All right. I don't want to see it. Don't show me. Make sure you show the camera, of course, yeah, because you want to make sure that they can play along with us too. And then hold it against your chest tight so that I can't see it. I don't want to see it at all. You got it?
Got it.
All right. What I need you to do is think of your card.
Okay.
Get it in your mind. Get it in your mind too. You got it in your mind. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions, but I don't want you to respond. I don't want you to answer at all. Okay, just try to give me a blank face if you can.
Okay.
Within the deck, there are two colors. There are red and there are black. There's red and black. Okay, I'm going to go with, so you did a little eye, you probably saw it on the camera, you did a little eye twitch when I said red. The second time, I'm going to go with red. So you have a red card. Within the red cards, there are, now you got a straight face.
Okay.
There are diamonds and there's hearts. There's diamonds. Okay, you have a diamond. All right, within the diamonds, there are ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, queen, king. Right around 9, 10, jack. I'm going to go with a 10 of diamonds.
Oh, shoot. Let's see. I don't know if my camera went all the way, but...
Is that, oh, good,
yeah.
perfect, good.
I don't know if there's a tell, because every time he was asking me, I kept looking like you said, there's, black or red, and I went red. I think my eyes were like this, red. So I don't know if the tell. But then I started to.
You want to play poker now?
Yeah, so I'm going to make sure everybody can get your information.
Absolutely. I go in as the historical conjurer. That's what I'm known as.
Sure. I'll make sure all that stuff's listed below in the video. And we'll have more episodes with Danny, because I've got some more great stories coming up about the history of West Linn, and we'll get more magic tricks as well. So thanks again.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. The Willamette Meteorite is just one of the many curious and charming stories here in West Linn. And in fact, just across the street from the Willamette Ale and Cider House, in front of the United Methodist Church, is another replica of the meteorite. Do you want to discover more of West Linn's secrets? Or even better, are you looking to make a move to a neighborhood like this one? Then let's meet up in person. All my contact info is listed below. In the meantime, I want to make sure that nobody goes away empty-handed. So be sure to grab my free video series where I reveal all the secrets about the whole real estate process. Just go to freesecrets.net. Again, that's at freesecrets.net. Thanks for watching Around the Neighborhood with me, Scott McMahon, your local real estate professional, and I'll see you next time around the neighborhood. I can't help but imagine what this place must have looked like over 15,000 years ago. The Ice Age was coming to an end, bringing with it the Missoula flood. That's Missoula flood. Bringing with it the Missoula flood.